having that one.
There you are.
Cause you got signs in front of your name, so we'll know who you are. You're on, Mr. Mayor. Hey, Jamie.
Your microphones are hot, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's always good to have them, so if anybody's listening, or somebody misses something. KJ! What's up, son?
No, you're not. Hey, I'm in a little meeting. Can I call you back? Okay, I'll call you. Bye-bye. Is your chair hung up?
No, it wants to put me in the laid back. All right, I'll go ahead and call this to order. The ad hoc committee of the, make sure I get this right, bicentennial celebration for the city of Kingston for our birthday coming up next year. First thing after calling to order is to appoint a chair, and I'd like for this body to nominate a chair and a vice chair, and I'll give a suggestion. I'll give a suggestion that Vice Mayor Brown be the chairman, and that Ms. Templeton be the vice chairman of this committee.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony.
I think it was Sunny.
Robert.
Oh. Oh, look at Robert.
There's Mr. Bailey.
All right, so now I'll have Ms. Jackson call the roll.
Member Bailey?
Here.
Member Brown?
Present.
Member Hunter?
Here.
Member Johnson?
Here.
Member McPherson?
Here.
Member Page? Member Sims?
Here.
Member Templeton?
All right, now next is welcome introductions. I think pretty much everyone here knows everyone. I want to thank you for doing this. This is something that, that Sonny put together, well, sent it to us as, hey, we need something we need to look at. So the first thing I thought of is let's put together a committee of people who have been in Kingston a long time and some new people that are here that does events for the city. And, I can remember the one, I guess it's the 200th in 1999. Yeah, I can remember doing it at the old courthouse, but I don't remember everything that happened so many years ago. So that's why I wanted to get you guys together for some ideas about it. Jack, would you also like take notes? I'll be the secretary for this committee because you've got, being working for the city in the fort, you can send out emails and stuff to all these people. That's all I've got, and I will turn it over to Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, I'm with the mayor. I appreciate everybody their willingness to serve on this committee. I'd remind you that your microphones are live and this is being videoed and broadcast over the internet. So if you'll turn your microphones on so that the people out that have an interest in this, there's a little button up in front, and we'll try not to whisper to each other and speak loud enough that they can hear us. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Anybody from the public wishing to comment? And that sounds kind of strange, and I'll explain just a little bit. This is a new law that started in July that we have to, in every meeting, in every subcommittee meeting, that we have to do this. So this is just a formality, and you'll see this on every one of ours. Discussion to set future meeting dates and times. Any suggestions from the group?
We're on the first Monday right now. Wanna leave it on the first Monday? And how often?
That make any difference to me? I'm assuming we can meet here every time, Kelly? If it's during the daytime, if it's during the nighttime, we have to look at other meetings that use this facility.
Does 5 o'clock work for everybody?
I don't think anybody else uses this on Monday, but that I know of.
Okay, I make a motion that we move our meetings to Monday night, 5 o'clock. Do we wanna do monthly until? I think we're gonna have to make
I
sure we
do
keep
too.
everything in gear for a
Yeah.
year, okay? Make a
So-
motion that we have our meetings on Monday night, 5 o'clock, first Monday of the month.
Second that.
Any other discussion or any problem with that? All in favor say aye, all opposed say nays. Ayes have it, motion carries. And Jack will send us out an email to take care of those notifications. The next one is the meat of the meeting, initial discussion about what we want to do. If anybody's got any ideas to float around, if you don't have any tonight, we need to make sure that we have them next meeting. We'll try to hold these meetings to no longer than 45 minutes to an hour. As we get closer, we may come back in and have more meetings to get everything finalized. Anybody got any idea on how to have a birthday party?
Yes.
Sonny?
Yeah.
The actual date is October the 23rd, and if don't change it, next year the Street Fest is October the 26th. So I would suggest you do
So what was on the 26th?
Coincide.
the Street Fest. That's when it's scheduled next year. So you just change the name of one of your events.
Did you get a calendar so everybody can, Jack gave us a calendar, it's got
Yeah.
that 23rd date on it for us,
Yeah.
that we can kind of fill in around. So are you talking about having a one-day event, or a week event, or a month event? I'm just throwing that out there, since now we know that this other event is scheduled for the same week.
Mr. Chairman, since I took over working at the fort, one of the things I'd been looking at before this committee came about and the idea to start celebrating was bringing back a living history reenactment at the fort, which plays a pivotal role in the history of the town and all that kind of stuff. And I'd been looking at the weekend prior to the 23rd, which would have been the 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's a full 3-day deal. So that may be something we want to look at, consider, just tying it all together. It would be historically, and it would all be linked on that, so that's another thought out there.
Okay,
Okay.
Ms. Glenda?
I've talked about this through leadership and several other committees that I'm on, is doing a fall color tour to bring in people into our area. Maybe like have vendors open a little late one night or something like that, so that we could have mapping to say, go through this subdivision, go through this subdivision, look at the beautiful colors here in Roane County, Kingston first, Roane County primarily, and bring people in for some of these events along with that color tour. Get them in during the day.
Ms. Sharon, do you have any thoughts?
I do. I think the first thing we need to do is come up with a logo that either says Kingston since 1799 or Kingston 225 years. So when we are doing, social media posts or whatever, something like this, not this, but something that would work for anyone on the committee, or if you know someone who can do graphic things, maybe come up with something like that for the next meeting to approve, and then when we run ads in Roane County News or post on social media, we have a logo
To tie it
that
to.
ties to what we're doing.
My suggestion is to do the Kingston 225, because we can't say that word. There you go.
Yeah, I sent the city one about 2 months ago. Little pins.
Mhm.
Basically, they took the pin that we had, because they were the same people we used in 1999. And all they did was on the bottom of it, it's like 225.
Yeah, I
It's got
think.
the steamboat.
I think that would be a good idea. Also, I think that we can do things throughout the year. I think it would be great for the elementary schools to maybe have an essay contest on, make
Kingston's
it real
history.
simple and, what was happening 225 years ago. That I think an essay contest in the schools would be really good. Get the kids And, I love the idea about Fort Southwest Point. There's a lot of things that we could do on that day. In the past, there was a hot air balloon and an all-day festival at the fort that we did. And, there were people there all day. There were hot air balloon rides. They had the, reenactors with the Revolutionary War costumes on out there. They had a petting zoo. The Shriner clowns were there, so it was like an all-day festival and very successful.
But on what day? Since we've got the Kingston
Well-
Country Fair on the 26th.
You could do it in conjunction with that day.
I
You don't
think that
have to
would-
do, so you could have the fair at the old courthouse, and then you could do something
Keep 'em in
festival,
Kingston all
carnival, like
day.
a Ferris wheel, or something that's just really incredible for someone to have it. You have it there maybe 3 or 4 days. There's a company in Knoxville you can get it from. I have not priced that sort of thing, so I don't know what kind of a budget we have.
What do y'all think about bringing in the Star of Knoxville to do like a dinner cruise or something? We'd have to raise money for that. I think the initial cost to get them here is like $3,000, but I think it would be good to help raise money for this festival. Do that pretty soon.
Make sure you're speaking to the mics, because I've got text that people are watching.
Yes, okay.
For Star of Knoxville, I don't know what that would cost, but for that same festival that we had the tethered hot air balloon
Yeah.
rides, I did not make that clear.
Well-
We also had, pontoon boats that were rented from a local marina, and we had golf carts that took people all day down from Fort Southwest Point to the pontoon boat rides. There were people lined all the way up the hill just to ride 30 minutes on a pontoon boat.
Yeah.
All day. So, you know, there are things we can do throughout the year. You know, you have the Rome County High School band, you know, you can have a parade that day, but I think what Sonny said about that particular day is already designated as something, it's on the calendar, probably doesn't conflict with a lot of things going on in the county, and we just build on that, and then do little onesie-twosie things throughout the year with schools and different things, find the oldest tree in the city.
Back in the Star of Knoxville, when continuing Kingston, we did the fireworks. We had them come twice. We had them coming, I think, in '98 and then '99. But it's a long trip from there to here, because the one year they came, I don't know if you remember, it's they have 2 big engines. One of their engines went out,
Took
so they
forever
could
to
only
get
go
here.
in circles. And that's when we used to swear in the council, and we were going to do it on the steamboat, but we couldn't because it was kept going in circles. So I actually did it at City Park. But usually they'd make their money, as you know, in the evening they would have people come and stay on the boat, and then also people you know, eat and stuff. But I don't know. I just remember it was a long, you know, they don't just.
Yeah.
It takes them like a full day or something to
To
get
it
here.
back and forth. Might not
And
work.
I don't know if it was a
There's
star. It was a
another-
boat that was up there. I don't know if it was a star.
Well, there's another boat in Chattanooga that does too. So we can check and see.
Okay, let's go around and let's get all of our ideas, and then we'll look at what we've got, and then we may assign people to check on the boats and check on the parade and that kind of stuff, and see what other ideas we've got. Ms. Sharon, you have anything else?
Just, do we have a budget?
We haven't yet. I've asked that.
Next, this will be at the 24-25 budget. So during our budget sessions in the spring, I plan on bringing to council some sort of budget.
And if we get this together, and if we like that idea, then we'll try to put us together a little budget to present as a committee to the mayor to take to council.
That's all I have right now.
Ms. Carly, you have anything?
I really like the idea of getting schools involved. I don't know what that would look like. But I think that a lot of kids can be super encouraged, kind of go outside their comfort zone. So I think getting the schools involved would definitely help. I like the idea of it being more of like a, kind of like a week thing versus like 1 weekend or 2 weekends. Like, I like to expand it. That way we can have, there's more opportunity to do bigger things. And of course, you know, I can get all the things together as far as like getting food trucks in. You mentioned a petting zoo. I know great people with a petting zoo. With the fall fest that he had mentioned, I also thought about, instead of doing just like a typical fall fest, if we just expanded it and made it bigger, like, I think you mentioned something like a county fair or something. In my head, I'm thinking of that one little spot in Dollywood. It's got all those like, fair rides. I think that would be so cool, to bring here. I know I've seen it happen in different cities, just bringing rides like that into their city just for the day. So if we did the fall fest, and kind of tied it in with that and made it a bigger event, I think that would be ideal.
Counselor?
Couple of things. First of all, I think we're talking about the birthday, but we also have Kingston through the years, and Robert Bailey on one hand, Norman Sugarman on the other, and Kelly Jackson's mother for a third, all have a wealth of pictures and things of that nature. That is true, isn't it, Robert? I thought it was. and to have some sort of a presentation perhaps at the courthouse for people to see Kingston through the years. The other thing that occurs to me is we don't have much of it, but in 1976 we had a tour of what old homes that you do have, and you had people who were willing to open their homes. They do that in other towns. Kingston hasn't done that a lot. You basically got one street these days. But at any rate, those are just a couple of the things that I think involving the people and the process. And I do agree that it needs to be sort of melded together with the fall festival that Mr. Hunter has already talked about, to give it a multi-day kind of thing to deal with.
Mr. Bailey?
One of the things that the Heritage Commission started up a few years ago and never been able to get it off the ground involves the Bethel Cemetery, and in October. And of course, the Bethel Cemetery is not set up to where you can have reenactors and people going through the cemetery because of all the divots and everything else is there. One thing that we had thought about having reenactors around the old courthouse, where you could have people that come and we have the reenactor there, and the reenactor will be somebody that was prominent to Rome County or Kingston's history. So that way you could have them around there, you could have the people walk along the sidewalks to that reenactor and have that person tell who he is and his importance. Like if it's Gideon Morgan, he could be on the corner to the Gideon Morgan house. And so that's one of the things that we've talked about. It would require, I guess, some planning about what the reenactor is going to talk about as to what they've done to Kingston's history. But, you know, it's something that we thought maybe about having it like on a weekend at night or whatever. And we'd also talked about having a storyteller maybe in the courtroom, you know, so you have, you know, things that, you know, would involve a lot of people, a lot of interest and stuff. So that's one of the things that we've talked about for several years, and maybe this is the time to pull it all together and have that and such. But,
And that would be good to give them a script to tell the story about.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
been kind of the big thing is, you know, we've had people who've been interested, like C.E. Simon being Mary Love.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. And so we would be pulling together the script, and the people who would want to dress up and talk about, you know, what their importance were to Kingston and stuff.
One of the things, talking about that kind of thing, and of course, and I see you know this, Robert, but in the Parker House, Captain Allison and the riverboat, he lived there in what I still refer to as my house. After all these years, but it following that same thing. And you may get some interest from either the SAR or the DAR groups too that would be interested in helping with that too.
My DAR would be very helpful. They have-
Well, let me take my shot here real quick here. I've kind of got some things that haven't been mentioned yet. I think to summarize some of it, I think that we ought to have it not just as a day or 2 days, but at least a week's worth of days. And I heard Glenda say, let's keep everybody in Kingston. Some people don't like the craft shows. Some people don't like the balloon rides are scary. And I'm just using that. But some people would love to come to the reenactment at the fort, also have a reenactment at the courthouse, you know, and have them one day, this is the day, and bring the Daughters of Federation in and the old courthouse folks. I could see, even if it was agreeable to make it all a festive week, if there was any way that the
Starting Saturday
courthouse
night, following
bunch
Sunday.
just had their annual deal. If we had it sometime close to the vicinity, it was what, 2 weeks ago, we could kind of draw all of it in together, and you all could use that as a fundraiser, and maybe draw a few more people that you wouldn't have. It may be too that if we decide that we need something like the tent, that we got a better rate if we keep it for a week instead of just a day. Just thinking ahead of things that have happened. I would really like to go down to the or see it happen. How many of you remember the movie that Matt put together and Jerry Duncan and Steve Kirkham them helped with, that showed everything? You know, we have a audio-visual class now with the guy who put that one together at Rome County High School. It would be great too if we contacted them now, that they made that their project for next year, to put together a video that we could either, you know, play on YouTube or somewhere, or to use it and to play it when they come to the fort or come to the old courthouse, and to go through and take some of these old pictures that we're talking about getting together. I know that years ago that we had the group that just met the other day, and I've gone blank. I'm getting old, Glenda. That met at the new brewery place, had the reunion.
Yeah.
I can remember when Roger Rule was on that class that they went through, and there's a video somewhere, and that was one of the early ones, and all they did was videoed and drove through the towns and go back and look at them. You know, if we could find something like that and do one so that the next people, that, you know, 25 years, 50 years from now, that they can take
Wasn't
ours.
that they went through the pictures and videoed the pictures,
Yeah.
and then came back through for the progression of the city.
Yeah, and then they, like I say, they drove through Harriman, Rockwood, and Kingston, and Kingston
beautiful.
hadn't changed all that much, but go down Rockwood, it has changed
It's
so
really changed.
much downtown in the last 9 years, and so they've got that. I could see us even sometime during that week having some sort of parade. I really like the way that the fort people, and I don't know where all those costumes are at now, but you know, they during the parade at Christmas time, they
used to walk
decked
it.
up and shot the cannon riding down. I'll never forget Bobby Collier was dressed up in a great big suit. I don't know who he was, a general or a colonel or something, but that was always a real neat thing that I thought. If we could have the tours of the old courthouse, even the new courthouse, if we could set up something. A lot of people haven't been through some of those places, and if we could really get these places that's got the older houses and have that one night, and let people come through like Rockwood and like Cornstalk Heights does, that's really good. I would like for us to have some sort of ball. Now, I started out saying a dance, but a ball of some sort.
Cotillion.
Of what?
Cotillion.
Thank you. Whatever she said, you know. Yeah, I can't spell that either. But, you know, if we could have something like that, I don't know if we would tend to dress up in period dress or
absolutely.
not. If we could get with these folks out here and open this building up, that's what it was designed for. You know, there's plenty of places to have those at, but I'd like to have something like that in Kingston where we could go. I mean, you know, I go back to my younger years growing up in Rockwood, where they had their centennial, and you know, they had a parade with horses, and the men dressed up in the old suits, the ladies had the hoop skirts. That was one day, but they ended up having they hired somebody to do a production that was, and I've still got the old book that went through, and I bet you there must have been 500 people that were in that production. You know, that's kind of old class, and it'd be hard to do anything like that. But if we could go back and draw upon something that the other towns have done, and I'm sure Robert has some of that stuff, that he knows the curators of some of the other areas of what they do, but I really like coming to the courthouse and having people standing there, if they're scripted, so that they give the right information and they dress up. But that's just some of the things that I thought, that we've got to get going now if we're gonna ask these people for help. And I think we ask for all the help we can get.
Mr. Chairman, you may, I don't know that Ms. Johnson can help with that, but what I refer to as the Mickey House is a perfect place to have the kind of thing that you were just talking about, because they've got the indoor, outdoor, the whole thing. And she may have some connection with the people who own and run that
I think we
that
could probably
facility.
pull that off.
I think they call it the Jim Henry Event Center these days.
It is, it is. We'll make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that would be, and it would be on the grounds. It's beautiful. Y'all are invited. The 2nd of December, we're gonna have Christmas trees on there, so everybody think about that.
And just off the subject, speaking of that, does anybody know what they're doing at the boring house?
I think they live in it now.
I mean, there are a lot of dumpsters, looks like they're scraping paint off all the front of it, so I don't
I
know.
don't know.
You talking about the house at the?
Right behind the,
Yeah.
behind
Bryce
Dollar,
Johnson's house.
behind Dollar Tree.
Yeah, behind
The
Dollar.
which one?
Bronce Johnson's house.
No, that
Dale
one.
Boring's house.
No, okay, that's Aunt Vera and Uncle Bronx. They're changing that into a B&B. They have taken down a lot of the stuff that they've
I
done.
think that's what Tony's talking about.
But we can get involved in that one too. I can get you in either one of those
Oh,
places.
yeah, no
Okay.
doubt about
Okay.
that one.
Bronce Johnson's old house.
Yeah. We can do that, and we can do the event center, no problem. We'll go ahead and book that now.
Jack?
I got two things. We talked about spreading the events out. I'd like to go right off the bat, make a motion that we just consider the month of October 2024 the 225th birthday celebration month. And we can, then
Fill
we've
in
got a
the
whole
blanks.
month
The
to work
proclamation,
with.
sir.
I'll let him get finished with his motion.
Make that be the whole month. That way we've got 31 days to use to have events pushed together, spread out, however we decide. And that way it gives a starting point to the public to start looking forward to that month. So, I wanna make that motion now, and then I got one more thing I need to.
Is there a
talk-
second to the motion on the floor?
Second.
There's a second by Glenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye, all opposed say nays. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next order.
The next part, for me, if we decide to do the living history reenactment, I'm gonna need to know something very soon, an affirmative, we're not talking dollars and cents kind of thing right here. Most of the reenactment companies that come in that, dress as soldiers and long hunters and settlers, they typically set their calendar in December or January timeframe, and so I've got to start putting feelers out right away to see if these companies that wanna come in and participate in that type of reenactment at Fort Southwest Point.
Is there any fee for that?
That's what I would be finding out. I've gotten some responses, groups, actually 5 groups said they would be interested, but there's no details, no commitments, and there's a lot of interest from a long ways away. There's a company out of New England, 2 out of Virginia, 2 out of the Carolinas that would be coming in and representing 1,700 frontier troops, but I've got to have, are we or are we not gonna do a reenactment, so I can start giving them, reaching out for commitments and fees and things of that nature, how much they charge or not charge or whatever.
Mr.
So I'm
Chairman,
gonna have to know that part of it fairly soon.
don't the Oak Ridge Sons of the Revolution do some of that too?
And they're local, and they wouldn't charge that much.
Yeah, there's groups from all over that have expressed an interest. I've just used those 5 as an example of just how important that kind of thing is to those people. But it's gonna be important to us, we can't wait till, like, say, July of next year and then hope to get anybody kind of thing. We're
Be
gonna
my
need-
suggestion then, Jack, if you don't care, since we don't have a budget, we can't get a budget between now and next week or next meeting, would it be advantageous for you to reach out with those people and try to find someone who has interest for that month, what days during that month, how much, what they'll bring, what they'll do? It's a 2-day event or a 3-day event or just 1 day, bring it back to us, and then that would help us formalize our budget request, just like you'd want to do the same thing with your suggestions with the balloon rides and that sort of stuff.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
my turn?
Cause there's no way we can do this without money. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In conjunction with what Sharon said, we do need to develop a logo quick, fairly fast. I've got some people at the office that are very creative with that kind of stuff. I can see what I can have developed by the time we have our next meeting.
Did Sunny say, have you already done that, Sunny?
Have you been
Set a
working on it?
logo?
I've done one for pins. I gave you
Okay.
suggestions, you gave me a price, I gave it to the city.
So,
Basically,
let's
get
get
with me, I'll
together.
show you what
Okay,
I got.
okay. If that's okay. I mean, we'll bring in several
Take it,
different things.
Either take it or tweak it.
Yeah. Bring in
I've got
several
it in the
different ones.
office.
Mr. Chairman, I've got one more
Go
thing
ahead.
that I'll set my mouth. I would like for the committee to consider bringing on board as a non-voting member Stacy Wilson with the Tourism Board with Rhone Alliance. She's got the skill set and she's got the personnel to really truly assist us in getting publicity everywhere it's gonna need to go.
We can just notify her of that too. She's real good. at
However we
sending
wanna
out.
do it, but I think we need to keep her in the loop, cause she's got a lot of things that we probably don't have access to as far as publicity going East Tennessee wide, statewide, whatever.
I can take care of that through
Do the chamber.
Justin, yeah.
And if any of these folks that we're talking to, since we've got our meetings firmed, would like to come and speak to us with some sort of presentation or something, feel free to schedule them for one of them. The sooner the better, so we can either vote them up or vote them down. You know, if the reenactors come in and there's $75,000, I'm assuming that me and the mayor and Sandy are gonna be and David are gonna be dressing up and reenacting, because I don't think our budget will afford that.
75 years ago, nobody had beards, and one of the things they used to do,
Was everybody grew a beard?
everybody would grow a beard, of course now.
We'll challenge them all for October
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
not be participating.
Yeah, you know, November's non-shave month anyway.
So they get ahead.
Yeah,
Get a
so
little
they
bit
could
ahead.
they could get ahead. Well, you gotta get ahead anyway, or I do. We got any other suggestions or anything else before we? Yes, ma'am.
My suggestion is, yes, proclaim the whole month of October, but let the festivities we start with, start on, and this is coinciding with what Jack said, start the 18th, 19th, and 20th on that as the reenactment, start that. You can do the cotillion or whatever around those Saturdays, and then end it on the 27th. You know, like bring it to a conclusion. We're topping it off at something else.
Gotta remember, the 19th is the third Saturday in October. Nothing happens on the
I know.
third Saturday in
I know.
October.
The world does not turn then.
Yeah, my calendar doesn't have a 27 on it,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
putting one on there, Jack.
Thank you.
Did I miss one? I
Mr.
missed a day.
McPherson. Looked that up myself.
So we're gonna pencil in that's a UT game.
The 19th?
Yes.
Well, we can still, you know,
Yeah.
like, we're bringing it into the modern day and have a big screen TV with the ball game.
We can do that at the amphitheater.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's a
I will
home
just
game.
throw
Isn't
this
that
out.
Alabama?
Mm.
Yeah, we'd have to do that at the amphitheater. God.
And then somewhere we're gonna have to have a meet and greet, I would think.
What about directing that to the old courthouse?
Well, again, we're gonna have to have something. I mean, you gotta have a birthday cake. If you're gonna have a
yeah.
celebration, you gotta have a cake, and, you know, we've got
Cut
to,
a ribbon.
invite people. I'm assuming that we would invite all of the past mayors that are still alive, all of the past council people, all of our county commissioners that represent this, all of our old Parks and Rec people, that since we're having a birthday and all those people have contributed to the growth of the city of Kingston, that we include everybody, our old judges and our old attorneys
And current ones.
and currents. So we start compiling a list that, of people on our invite list, because I know that there was just a thing here not long ago that some folks didn't get invited to a ribbon cutting and their feelings were hurt terribly bad. Wasn't here, but I just know that it happened.
Yeah, it did. Okay, on the parade, telling you I may have to really call you in for a lot of help. On the parade, I'll volunteer the first fire truck of Kingston to be.
I wonder who's got that?
I don't, Kelly knows.
You know, parades have never gone real well, other than the Christmas parade. I think we always have the biggest one. Seems like the 4th of July parade is always at an off time. You know, we may have that as a nighttime deal where more people, if we decide to have a parade. But still, I think we're gonna have to have everybody together, and, you know, the more the merrier. You know, tell them not to bring gifts, and then we've got to, I heard someone mention a while ago about a fundraiser. You know, do we have try to plan an event that we have some sort of fee to participate in at least one activity?
I think the cotillion by fee.
The cotillion would be the fee.
Hmm?
The cotillion, or Robert, we could even do like some sort of a show at the, okay,
Yeah.
at the old courthouse, like you don't have anything to do.
And I'm guessing, since we're throwing all this out, Robert, can we use the old courthouse, that it would go to, you would go consult with your board as soon as your next
So
meeting
develop one.
and tell them this is in the works, and that we may want to bring them in with suggestions, or send it through you, or,
That one right there.
That's an hour and 25 minutes from now. The next meeting.
and same thing with the ladies that help out at the fort. And
DAR.
We used to have a cake sale.
Bake sale, used to have a cakewalk. They used to do the
I mean,
cakewalk.
somebody bring a
Mm-hmm.
cake and somebody, $50 or whatever.
You just made something that would tie in with the street festival. During the street festival, typically on a Saturday afternoon, to have things like cakewalk, somebody, $1 fee to get in, and cakewalk, and the other kind of
Entertainment.
stuff that would have been typical in schools and PTA meetings and all that kind of stuff back through the early, or stuff like that you don't see getting done much anymore.
Exactly. Well, they do that 4th of July too.
you know, this is during the school year, where we've always tried to get the local band to come in to do something. So it may be that we try to get them to have some kind of,
You could have
Real
entertainment
deal.
that whole week.
Yeah.
You could get like Avery
Whatever night
Trace
they
or
could do it.
something else to come in.
and that gives, I think if we have a variety of things, you know, someone may say, oh, a cakewalk, but, you know, the little kids may like that, you know. I like
Well, they
coming to
probably
the
never
elf
done
run.
it.
You
They've
know,
probably
but
never done it.
nobody else likes to go to the elf run, don't look like, but it, you know, that's a neat little thing that we have. So if we had something kind of spread out during those weeks that we've said, I think it would help us a lot.
Videographer was Keith McDaniel.
Do what?
That videographer is
Keith McDaniels, yes.
Took me a
If
while.
you make a list, because even the leadership group one year had a 30-day deal,
Mm-hmm. We did.
and they had stuff every day.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
It was
The,
wild.
You know, we may even talk to the leadership group that they may adopt this as their program of the year and help us with something. But even if with Keith, I could see his group down there make us some sort of 30-second commercial
And he would do it.
to run.
We could run it on several of the local channels. They would do it as a service announcement.
Yeah,
We can get Matt from on state too.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
That's good.
And see, he could run it all on the, whatever channel it is now over in Harriman.
Keith has a lot of that already from when he did that for Matt Caldwell, remember?
Yeah.
And then we could pull anybody in as far as. I like it. I know, Sonny, I can't slow it down.
And assuming that everybody at their at-home office has got a pad and a pencil, that every time that you think of something, you go write it down, or I do, because I forget things in my olden age. So for our next meeting, I would charge all of you to bring back a list of things that you've homed in on, or new suggestions that you've thought of, and we'll have the same discussion again, and hopefully the meeting after that will have more information about cost and who all's on board, and what Mr. Collins and his group may have to help us with. And
You make a list of like the riverboats, I mean, if it's feasible, how much is it gonna cost?
yeah, try to get all that together, and then have a specific.
You know, actually, we could call in the high school drama team and stuff like that and let them be part of the reenactment stuff.
Do they still do a play?
Okay.
I wonder if, when do they do
Don't they
that?
have the
He's
Kingston?
getting ready to, I think, I don't know when it comes out, one of our employees is getting ready to start one. like,
You know,
next
if we can make contact down there, Sonny, that if they know this is coming, well, if we'd have known that, we would have had a play about Kingston.
Well, there is a play about it. I don't know where.
Yeah.
I don't know where
they
it
did
is.
Like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that may be something they could do and have it during
They
this
did it
time
on-
too.
They did it in the courthouse,
Yeah,
unless I'm just dreaming.
yeah.
I think
Like I
leadership
said,
would
you
win
could
it.
set up a big screen in the courthouse and do
Yeah.
the videos of kinda like the Princess Theater.
Yeah.
And,
And can you bring whatever olden stuff you have from the '99 that's still, you,
I gave it, they have it, I gave it all to them.
okay.
'Cause they
Is that
have
something we
stuff-
could spread out on the
they gave
table
me
and,
the stuff from the 150th, 175th. I gave it, cause it was a scrapbook. I gave it back to them.
yes, ma'am?
Okay. I think we also need to invite Harriman and Rockwood and Oliver Springs so that there's not a lot of conflict, because October is the Oliver Springs October
Rocket
Sky
Fest.
Fest, and make sure that we have them invited so that there's not a big conflict in something that they're doing. So if we invite them before our next month, if we get, like, if we can pinpoint down what we're doing on our next meeting so that we can tell them in advance.
So, Mr. Secretary, what would you think about having a news release and starting it off and put it out now that Mayor of Kingston in his glory has formed a committee, and the committee has met, and that we're going to have our birthday, and it's going to be the month of October, and anybody got any suggestions, send it to us, and then at least that'll get it out there, and then we'll make contact with Mr. White at the Historical and Oliver and Ms. Williamson at Harriman and, huh?
Who's got Rockwood's history now?
I don't know. Becky would
Becky
send
would
it to
have
Becky, I
Becky.
guess.
So, and again, this would tie in even with their campground down there.
Yeah.
Go stay there, come here.
And then, just like that's a good point too, that, since if we reach out to them, you know, I really like what Jack had at the festival. He had first time I can remember in a while, had a tent set up with things that they could look at. If
City set up something.
we need to go to their thing and set our deal up, advertising ours, and in fact, when's Oktoberfest up in Oliver Springs? It was
It's early October.
like in the
It's
first
early.
week, first Saturday.
I think it's usually the first Saturday.
Yeah, see, we could go there and, because
Invite-
a lot of those people invite
'em
people,
back.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, cause a lot of those people are looking for something to do next.
And you're already taking care of your fall festival deal with your sign-ups and all that kind of good stuff.
Something nobody brought up is, we push the peaches too. When we're at the Capitol.
Well, you know, we did that through Beautification Kingston, and that's why we've got the
And
peach.
riverboats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another point of history that needs to be brought out.
I also had another idea, kind of going back to what you talked about, getting everyone's suggestions. If we were to put something out there, have like a QR code that they could scan, we could do like a Google Forms maybe, and have them fill it out on suggestions, of things that they wanna see, things that they wanna be involved in. I don't know, that's just a thought.
Tony, you get your group to do baseball.
Yeah, we could have an old-timey baseball game down here too. You know, they were gonna sanction here and it conflicted with everything else we were doing, but that would be a thought. That'd be
The,
something to watch.
Along those lines, the Tennessee State Parks, the Rangers from all the different Tennessee State Parks right now do have old-time baseball teams that travel around putting on baseball games.
Yeah. So it's neat.
So, that would be neat, get them in, because the state's got the money to give them all the costumes and the old uniforms and all that kind of stuff.
See, we've got a team that started out, and there were 2 teams in Nashville. There's 22 teams now. And they have theirs in Knoxville at the Ramsey House. And it has helped the Ramsey House so much that they have all their tours, and they dress up when the old-time baseball people are there. We even went one year to the Hermitage and put on put on a show. Okay. Never want to hold volunteers longer than we need to. Anybody have any final comments around, Sandy? Carl?
Make a
Sure.
motion we adjourn.
One thing we need to remember is the historic courthouse annual fundraiser was held this last year in October. So
That's
we
what we're
need
talking
to-
about.
Yeah,
This
that's
is-
what we talked about, have them to try to have it
bring
during the
in
same
with them.
time.
That would be a good kickoff for the
Yeah.
beginning.
It's feasible.
It would be a good kickoff for the festivities,
Yeah,
to have that start
that's the reason
there.
we thought we could, if we could do that.
Pass these down. This is everybody's for, it's a draft of what I've been working on before this all started for the living history reenactment.
Did you send some that way?
Yeah, I sent a couple that away. And, everybody can look at it and sort of have an idea of what
Okay.
I had been looking at before this came to fruition here.
Robert, have anything?
Gotta have a copy.
Sonny, anything else?
None.
You'll bring us a pen, or, oh, is that the pen deal?
Yeah, I forgot to
Okay.
have a copy.
Okay. Jack? Glenda?
Make a motion we adjourn.
No, don't. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, sir. I want, again, thank you guys. I've learned, didn't know what to expect that's out of tonight's meeting. But I've heard a lot of good ideas and good things. One thing we can do is, I really like the idea about the essay contest, and tie in to the high school and kind of tie in like the homecoming game and the homecoming parade as one big parade at that time when you talked about the band being in the parade. And one thing we've not talked with Robert and those guys about is maybe doing a council meeting in the old courthouse in October. Have our October meeting up there like they did from the county commission a few years ago.
Do you,
So I'm hoping we might be able to do that also.
do you happen to know the date of homecoming next year?
Not yet.
Not
The
yet.
schedule's not been put out.
It's
So I
usually
will,
in October.
it's usually in October. I
Is it
will,
the 1st of October?
as soon as playoffs are over with, I'll get with Coach Pankey and he and I can talk about it.
Is it the same
It is.
flip-flop?
Yeah. It won't be the last game of the year, I know that for sure. Yeah, just like this.
Absolutely.
But now, really, some good ideas, and I really appreciate you guys doing this, and I'll be at the meetings, not to participate as much as listen and learn and whatever I can do to help out. Yes,
One
Ms.
more question.
Call you. Any comment? Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Do a flyer that we can put out on social media that's got pictures of the event center, your house, that kind of thing, and start doing some flyers on that particular. But if we don't advertise where to go look for this online, they will never see it. So I think the first thing we need to start concentrating on is getting our website up, getting the website up, getting our social media started.
Yeah, I mean, even do a Facebook page just for this,
Right.
for events.
And we've got the capability on the city website. I'm assuming that we could have a different category, just like a department.
That's the best idea. You don't wanna do it completely separate.
It needs to tie
You
in.
wanna access it through City of
Yeah.
Kingston.
All right, good ideas.
Shareable for us to.
Anything else? Entertain the motion to adjourn. That gives us 47 minutes.
Finally, yes.
All in favor
Make a
say aye,
motion
all
we
opposed say
adjourn.
nays. Ayes have it.
You just smart you guys can be.
You don't need to let him, you don't need to let him
Do
do
what?
it much.
Oh, yeah.
She's together.
No.
I just need, try to get it changed over from 6 vote to 12 vote.